What's up, you guys? Steven here for Off the Shelf Movie Night to talk to you about physical media, about Blu-rays and 4Ks and sometimes DVDs. You know, the way we like to buy and own our movies and TV shows and documentaries and all that kind of thing. If you enjoy this kind of conversation, if you're a collector yourself especially, please do give me a subscribe and let's keep in contact and stay up to date on all the conversation that's happening on this channel. I have lots of pickups, collection videos, all the typical stuff, and then I also try to bring in a little bit of a different perspective from being a filmmaker myself. I tend to look at things a little more critically sometimes, and it's not just looking at the movie more critically. Sometimes it's looking at the physical release more critically too. So anyway, getting into this week's video, what I thought I would do is pull out what I think, at least as of this recording, are my 5 favorite movie remakes in my collection. Movie remakes, I can't speak today, movie remakes can be kind of controversial, and they deserve the controversy because most of the time they're not good. Most of the time it's just weak filmmaking and studios trading on a brand or a name or, you know, some sort of nostalgia to make a quick buck. You know, I feel a lot of times remakes come out and they know their shit, but they also know in that first week to 2 weeks that they'll make some money, you know, and they'll come out ahead in the end. But once in a while, we get a remake that is not only great, but is better than the original, and that is pretty, you know, special. One movie that I do have in my collection, it's not in this stack, but I have it in my collection because I like it, that is a good example, is the Jumanji Remake. There was no reason that movie should have been good. And it had a lot to live up to, being that it's a remake of a Robin Williams classic. But you know what? It's good. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's great. I really like it. It's not as good as the ones in this pile over here, though. That's why. I actually have a steelbook of that movie. Didn't like the second one much. The second one was kind of garbage. All right, so let's dive into my 5 favorite movie remakes. I'm not saying that these are the best movie remakes ever made. I'm not even saying that they're necessarily good. What I'm saying is I love them. They're the best in my collection as of this recording. You know, I'm a kind of a different movie fan. I do have movies that are always my favorites, but you know, my top 10 can change and jump around and, you know, adjust itself based off my mood. I do have movies that are always in my top 5, though. And maybe sometime I'll do that. I'll talk about my top 5 favorite films. Anyway, here are, again, 5 best movie remakes in my collection. The first one is the 2012 remake of... So, the original film was called Judge Dredd, and that had Sylvester Stallone in it, based on a comic book. Well, I have the 2012 remake, Dredd. This one stars Carl Urban instead of Stallone. And, you know, the Stallone movie is kind of a garbage movie, but it's also kind of fun garbage. So he kind of had a little bit to live up to in this film. And I gotta say, he delivered. And the way this film works is it's simple. It gets to the point. It sets up the world, the science fiction world, and this is a fairly straightforward story about a cop trying to kill a drug dealer. It's very highly stylized. Carl Urban is really entertaining as sort of this morose kind of hero because it's his job, not hero because he loves it or wants to be it. It's just what he does, and he's got a new recruit that he's training. And on the flip side of that is Lena Headey, one of my favorite actresses, period, playing the drug lord. And they end up going head to head inside a building. Now, a lot of people say, and I agree with them, that this movie riffed heavily on a movie called The Raid, which was a guy who fought his way through a building. Well, this is kind of the same thing. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's a really highly entertaining movie. It's a very nice looking 4K. Now, the one thing I will say that I'm sad about, though, is because... well, actually, I don't have to be that sad about it. It's just a situation. I own this movie twice. This is a double dip because I have the 3D release, because this is one of the best 3D movies ever released. And I don't mean its best quality of movie, its best 3D experience, both in the theater and at home. Now, the problem I have is I've moved my movie room to a projector that doesn't do 3D right now. Where RU Optoma, that's the maker of my projector, I think the UK version of this projector does do 3D, so give me that firmware upgrade. Anyway, Dredd. Brutal, violent, stylized, gory fun. Super fun. That's number 5. Number 4. So, number 4 was a real surprise to me because it is a remake of one of my all-time favorite films, period. And I know most of you guys like it too. Most of us collectors appreciate Dario Argento. And this is a remake of Suspiria. Basically the same story. It's an art piece, kinda, about a girl who's going to a dance school and she's confronted by witches. I mean, that's simplifying the story, but the one thing that this movie does that the original doesn't do as much is this adds more concreteness to the story. This one actually kind of really gets more deeply into the story. On a negative, this one is long. This is a long movie. On another positive, though, while this one doesn't stand up to the original in visuals, it does have one particular sequence that is not only disturbing, but if you're a fan or a film editor of a fan of film editing, or you're a film editor yourself, it has one of the best edited sequences that I have seen in the last 10 years, easily, maybe the last 20. There's a dance sequence in here that is beautifully edited. So this one I had to import because I wanted the 4K. Domestically, you could only get this movie on a 1080p or on Amazon Prime because it was an Amazon original film. And that's number 4. Oh, and that movie was from 2019. Okay. Coming up here we have the I believe it's 1978. This movie has been done a lot of times, and that is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's several versions of this. There's a version from the 80s, I think, and a version from the 90s. I think there's even kind of a remake-y kind of thing, but a little different, called Puppet Master, that actually also stars Donald Sutherland, who is in this. This has Donald Sutherland and Leonard Nimoy in it, and it's a science fiction story about aliens that come to Earth, and they're like parasites, and they jump into our, connect in our bodies and take control of the human race. And it's a handful of people who realize what's happening and try to stop it. Again, it has Donald Sutherland and Leonard Nimoy, who was Spock in Star Trek. And that's funny too, because Carl Urban was also in the Star Trek remakes. Anyway, this one is particularly annoying because I got tired of not having this movie in my collection because it was out of print. Shout Factory had put it out domestically, and it was out of print for a long time. So I finally just broke down during a sale that the UK Arrow Video was having, and ordered it, got it, and then within 6 months, the 4K that's coming here was announced. So I don't know if I'm going to buy that 4K or not. I'm not saying that I will, but I probably will. All right, we're down to the last 2, you guys. Number 2 on my list is the 2012 remake of Evil Dead. I feel this is a very highly underappreciated horror movie for some reason. This is the movie that sort of launched Fede Alvarez's career. He did the Hills Have Eyes remake, and he's still putting out great stuff today. This was a challenging remake because Evil Dead, the original, is a Sam Raimi classic with Bruce Campbell, is so stylized and so specific to what it is that any slight knockoff of it just feels like that. It feels like a wannabe, a knockoff, whatever. So this film wisely took some of the elements of the original film, but then kind of became its own thing too. The core story that brings the people together is even different here. And what this film also did, but in a different way, is made itself just as gory as that original film. The level of gore in this movie, I mean, when I say it rains blood, it freaking rains blood. Now, I still love the original more. I love it for Bruce Campbell. I love it for the style of it. I love it for the innovation in horror film storytelling when that movie was made. But this movie right here might be a little bit more disturbing, might be a little bit harder to watch, because some of the gore in this is... I'm not going to spoil. I mean, it shouldn't be a big deal. It's a 10-year-old movie, but I'm not going to spoil in case you haven't seen it. But there's a scene or two in here that really, really makes my skin crawl. So really great film. I mean, I haven't been showing you the insides of these. There's not much to see. It's just DVD and a Blu-ray. Nothing special there. All right, my number one. The number one remake in my collection. Now, the other four might change here and there. They might change here and there. But the number one is not going to change. It's not going to. And that is John Carpenter's 1982 film, The Thing. The original film was based off a novel. The original film I don't find to be particularly good. This one is amazing. This is one of those films that the first time I saw it, I was jealous of it, knew I would never do anything as good as it, and it cemented John Carpenter as one of my favorite directors of all time. This film and Halloween, he could do no wrong after those two films. This has Kurt Russell in it. It's really got a pretty solid, stellar cast. Basically, if you don't know the story, which how could you not? It's a bunch of researchers out in Antarctica, I guess, and an alien presence comes into their research base, and it can replicate other people. So then the paranoia that's inherent in this movie is what really makes it powerful. It's everyone's looking at everyone, and which one of them is not real, which one of them is actually an alien in hiding. The practical gore effects in this movie and the alien effects in this movie stand up. All these years later, what's in here looks better than what you're going to see in new modern movies. It looks more real. CGI can't do this. Not yet. Not even close. If you haven't seen this movie, this is a good time to see it, because it's a stunning 4K. Bonus features are a lot left to be desired. The original Blu-ray is in here also. But it is a beautiful restoration upgrade of The Thing. That is my top 5 favorite films. But since you've made it this far, again, please sub me up if you haven't. Like this video if you liked it. I have a bonus. An honorable mention, if you will. And it is 2018's Child's Play remake. So I enjoy the original Child's Play. I have the box set with all of the films in it because I like the first one and then other ones. I like Bride of Chucky, stuff like that. I enjoy them. They're fun, but I'm not this diehard Child's Play guy. So I was fine with this movie when it came out. Now, what I will say is it is very hard to separate Chucky, the doll, in this movie from Brad Dourif. But if you're not going to get Brad Dourif, Mark Hamill is really the next best thing, and he kills it in this movie. And for the year that it came out, for what we have as, representing horror today, the level of gore and violence in this movie was pleasantly surprising. Very, very entertaining. Fun film to watch. The story is modernized. We don't have this kind of toy doll, I guess, as much as in the original in the 80s. But the way the doll exists and works and everything is modernized properly in this very fun film. So that is my bonus. I hope you enjoyed this top 5. What are your favorite movie remakes in your collection? That's the specific thing that you own in your collection. What are your favorites? Let me know in the comments, and let's talk about it. Till next we meet, pull something cool off the shelf, share it with your friends and family, and remind them why physical media is the best way to watch films and TV. I'll see you guys on the next one.